This is your primetime forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia from Dr. Don's Weather. Dr. Don's Weather is made possible by the Randolph County Commission, First Light Coffee, Roger Bell Auto Brokers, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House, and Bama Diesel Repair. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery, Southern Union State Community College, and the venue at 5 Points Farms. Here's Dr. Don.
Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Got a little dicey across North Georgia, East Alabama, West Georgia yesterday afternoon with some pretty strong thunderstorms. And we may have a repeat performance this afternoon. I'll tell you all about it coming up in this morning's edition of your Prime Time Forecast for Wednesday, July 31st, 2024 on Dr. Don's Weather. Be sure you're signed up for Randolph County's Hyper Reach. You know, here's how it works. You get those watches from a national level, the Storm Prediction Center. The warnings are issued on a local basis from your local National Weather Service office. And then after that, the information that follows about what's actually happening in your area and the areas you need to avoid comes from your local government. And here's how you can get signed up to make sure you get that information. If you live in Randolph County, you want to text the word ALERT to 256-540-8664. And just text the word ALERT to that number, and you'll get a link that will allow you to sign up for Hyper Reach. Now, this is in Randolph County, but just about every local community across the country now has a mass notification system. So if you live outside of Randolph County, Google your local county government. I'm pretty sure you're going to find a way to do the same thing in your community. And speaking of emergencies, make sure you're protected from those emergencies by getting your ducks in a row with Dukas. Get in touch with Jamie at 256-831-7770, or you can go to the link at the top of this video and just give Jamie a little basic information, and then he'll give you a quote and let you know if you can save money or not. In most situations, you can. And in a lot of situations, he can increase your insurance coverage at the same time. Yeah, we had some really big thunderstorms up here in North Georgia, and then those storms just kind of continued on down across Georgia, and they did make it into East Alabama. We had some really big thunderstorms. This was a mesoscale convective system. You hear us talk about this quite often. These storms originated up in Kentucky yesterday afternoon. They moved through Tennessee and then down through Georgia and East Alabama throughout the overnight hours. And an MCS system can pack quite the punch. They certainly developed that shelf cloud, which is very ominous looking. And that shelf cloud moved all the way down through Georgia and Alabama yesterday. Lots of wind damage to trees and power lines in multiple locations across Tennessee, Georgia, and East Alabama. And those clouds sometimes produce what's called scud clouds. And they also can have mini microbursts. And we saw both of those situations yesterday up here in North Georgia. We were getting reports of tornadoes all over the place. And I got to tell you, folks, there were no tornadoes yesterday. You had scud clouds, which are little deformation clouds that hang from that shelf cloud as it moves through. And we did have some microburst, which from a distance looks like a rotating column of air. But if you'll look at it real close, you'll see it's actually not rotating. It's a column of water. That thunderstorm collapses in that particular location, and this big, huge column of water falls. Now, microbursts can cause some damage because when that much water falls from the sky at the same time in a concentrated area, all the air up under that water's got to go somewhere. So it fans out when that column of water collapses and falls to the ground. And so right up under that, you could certainly have increased tree damage because you're going to have that wind. So they look ominous. They can cause some damage, but they're not tornadoes. And here's the deal, folks. It doesn't have to be a tornado to cause damage. Wind is wind. It's not in It's not worse because it comes from a tornado. Wind from a thunderstorm is just as dangerous as wind from a tornado. It amazes me every time we have a nasty looking cloud and there's some tree damage, folks start, it had to be a tornado. It was a tornado. It had to be a tornado. No, it doesn't. It can certainly be straight line winds. It can be winds from microburst. Just pay attention to severe weather in general, whether it's a thunderstorm or whether it actually is a tornado. Either of those can cause life-threatening situations, and you need to pay attention to both. For some reason, people just don't think thunderstorms are that significant and that thunderstorms can't kill you. They can. So remember that. And that'll do it. I'll pass the plate in a few moments. That'll do it for my sermon this morning. All right, so the big news today is going to be a heat advisory. I mean, the heat is back. We're going to be looking at heat index values well over 100 all the way through the weekend now. So the National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory, which does cover all of Alabama and parts of West Georgia. And then, of course, we have those isolated, scattered afternoon thunderstorms will be possible again today as well. Looking at the tropics, we're still watching that area out in the Atlantic as it heads toward the Bahamas. It's near the Greater Antilles and the Bahamas, a large tropical wave located a couple of 100 miles east of the Lesser Antilles, producing some shower and thunderstorm activity. Environmental conditions are forecast to gradually become more conducive for development while the system moves generally west-northwest over the southwestern Atlantic Ocean. And a tropical depression could form late this week or over the weekend while the system is in the vicinity of the Greater Antilles, Bahamas, or near Florida. Interest in the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, and the southeastern United States should monitor the progress of this system. Now, formation over the next 48 hours, 0. Formation chances over the next 7 days, 60%. That's pretty high. Understand, we do not have anything tropical out there right now. This is just an area of disorganized showers. Now, the conditions have not been conducive up to this point for this thing to form into a depression or a storm. But over the next 24 to 48 hours, conditions are going to get better, which will allow the storm to form if it's going to. So there's a chance we don't have anything at all here. But I'm getting a little concerned because it hasn't developed yet. And the closer it gets to the United States, and it hasn't developed, then our warning period is getting narrow and narrow and narrow if it does develop, if that makes sense. So instead of telling you for 7 or 8 days we've got a hurricane coming, this could evolve into a situation where we get a tropical storm or even a hurricane develop pretty close to the United States mainland. So our warning window is going to be real short. So pay attention to this. Even though we don't have something out there, I think there is a really good chance that we will get formation. The track, or the cone, I should say, of uncertainty has shifted a little bit to the northeast on one side, but it's also shifting back to the west on the other side. You'll notice there at the end of that cone, it's gotten very broad. Yesterday it was not quite that broad. So really right now, anywhere from the coast of North Carolina all the way over to Panama City is in play, and that includes the South Carolina coast, the Georgia coast, and the entire Florida peninsula, where we could see some tropical action as we head toward Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Let's take a look at your current conditions at the venue at 5 Points Farms in 5 Points, Alabama. Currently 73 degrees. Feels like 75 out there. It's humid. It's muggy. It's going to get worse as the day goes along. We have no wind. The humidity is 99%. Barometric pressure at 30.04. Dew point 73. We recorded almost a little over 3/4 of an inch of rain yesterday at the venue gauge there in Northeast Chambers County. Your location may have had much more or may have had much less. Currently, our Sky conditions are fair. The high yesterday was 89.9. Sunrise this morning at 5:55, and the sun sets this evening at 7:42 p.m. So here's your 6-day forecast from the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. We got a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Again, it's going to be scattered. It's going to be isolated. It's going to be hit and miss, but we could see the same setup today as we saw yesterday, where we could have that MCS system come out of the north. And we could see some storms that will be packing quite the punch with those ominous-looking shelf clouds. So just remember, could see some pretty big thunderstorms this afternoon. All locations won't receive rain, but 40% of you will. 92 is going to be the high this afternoon. I think that's going to be the bigger story. 20% chance of showers continuing through about 9 or 10 p.m. this evening. Then on Thursday, we'll drop the rain chances down to only about a 30% chance. 93 in the afternoon on Thursday, 94 by the time we get to Friday. And then on Saturday, we'll bump the rain chances back up just a bit to 50-50, even odds. 94 the high temperature on Friday, and 92 the high temperature on Saturday. And then as we get into Sunday, 90 for your high with a 40% chance of showers. Mondays, we start your next work week, a 30% chance of rain. 91 will be your high temperature on Monday. Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar. We do have a few showers rumbling through North Georgia this morning. They are moving off to the southeast. Could we see a shower across East Alabama? It is possible. We have an outflow boundary up here in North Georgia, which was caused by yesterday afternoon's MCS system. And so that's why we're thinking we're going to see that develop again this afternoon. And you can already see where that boundary is. We have showers developing across that boundary this morning. So look in the area of the extreme North Georgia mountains, maybe back over to around Fort Payne, Alabama, for the formation of those storms later on this afternoon. As we take you in closer on East Alabama and West Georgia at this hour, you can see that we don't have much showing up, maybe a few sprinkles up there in northeast Randolph County this morning, but that's about it for the radar shot this morning. If you get a chance, head over to our weather store. There's the link on the screen. You can go to the top of the video on Facebook, and you can find that clickable link. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can go to the bottom of the video and support us if you can. Part of the proceeds of the sale of our cup, a T-shirt like the one you see I've got on, and our baseball cap, part of those proceeds come back to support us here at Dr. Don's Weather. And we deserve to continue to be able to provide you with the best weather coverage for East Alabama and West Georgia. And the only way we can do that is if you continue to support us. So please consider doing that. And at the very least, do all the social media things. Like us, follow us, share us with your friends, ask them to share with their friends. Go to our YouTube channel and click that subscribe button and the little bell. So when we go live to cover severe weather, you'll be guaranteed to get that notification. If you own a business, get in touch with me on Messenger, and I'll tell you how you can become a partner with us before we do our next weather forecast, which, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, will happen first thing tomorrow morning right here on Dr. Don's Weather.
This has been your primetime forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia from the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Southern Union State Community College, the venue at 5 Points Farms and Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery. Dr. Don's Weather is supported by the Randolph County Commission, First Light Coffee, Roger Bell Auto Brokers, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House, and Bama Diesel Repair. Be sure to like us on Facebook, share us with all of your friends, and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow morning with another edition of your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather.